It is in the Bible not to wrestle your neighbor.
What's up, Kareemers? It's me, Hot Joe, and I'm here to talk the turkey about professional wrestling like Ted Turner.
But when I go around talking to people all over the world, I try and say, is there anybody in here that wants to die? Raise your hand.
We're going to talk about Tony Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo. We're going to talk about Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks. I mean, the EVPs Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. We're going to talk about the triple threat world title match between Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page, our favorite Hangman, and Swerve Strickland. All that and more on this AEW Revolution 2024 predictions episode of Welcome back, Creamers. Man, it took you guys forever to get here. I mean, truly.
Could you be any slower? God.
I apologize. That was
Rude and unprofessional.
So we've got a hell of a card tomorrow night on AEW Revolution 2024. I'm incredibly excited about it, and I'd imagine that you'd be too. We've got the Women's Championship match between Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo. The feud has been great. Deonna Purrazzo is all like, yo, I miss my friend, as she reveals her matching tattoo. And then as Toni Storm gets her matching tattoo covered up with a sword going through it, she says, a long time ago, we used to be friends, but I haven't thought of you lately at all. I made that up just now. But yeah, so it's been a cool feud. I don't know if the winner of this match is going to end up facing Mercedes Moné when she debuts in AEW. But my prediction for this pay-per-view, this is, again, I said the other day, this is a hard show to predict. I honestly could see every one of these matches going different ways, but I believe Toni Storm will win. And how I think this is going to happen is I think, you know, a couple weeks ago, Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm both won their matches using the other person's finish. So I think Deonna Purrazzo will get Toni Storm in the ankle lock, and she'll see the tattoo, and it'll cause her to hesitate. But then, because of the hesitation, I believe Toni Storm is going to end up getting her in the ankle lock and not hesitating, seeing the tattoo and maybe looking away or somehow acknowledging that there's a little bit of the friendship still within her, but she ignores it and gets Deonna Purrazzo to tap out. Toni Storm will retain the Women's Championship. We've got Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong for the International Championship. Now, Orange Cassidy's first reign as International Champion was really, really good. A lot of people liken it to Rob Van Dam's television title reign in ECW. Obviously, not as long, but you know, he was a defending champion. He put the title on the line every single week. He was exhausted from it, and then he dropped the title to Mox, who had to immediately drop it to Rey Fenix, and then Rey Fenix lost it back to Orange Cassidy. But I think Roderick Strong really needs it, and I think the Undisputed Kingdom need it as well. So I predict Roderick Strong to become the new International Champion. We've also got Eddie Kingston defending the Triple Crown Continental Crown title against Bryan Danielson. This has been one of the best feuds of the entire, AEW Revolution lead-up Dynamites. Eddie Kingston is aware that Bryan Danielson is considered the best in the world, or one of the best in the world, and because of that, Kingston wants Bryan Danielson's respect. He beat Bryan Danielson in the finals of his league's Continental Classic tournament to go on to face Moxley. So he's beaten Bryan Danielson before, but Bryan Danielson still doesn't respect him, so Kingston wants to earn Danielson's respect. If Kingston wins, not only does he keep his titles, Bryan Danielson has to shake his hand. Bryan Danielson says he does not respect Eddie Kingston. He's a waste. He wastes his potential. He hasn't actually been working on becoming a better man or a better wrestler until the last year or so, or 2 years, or whatever Danielson said. And Danielson has been facing guys that Eddie Kingston grew up admiring and respecting, and then beating them. and not acknowledging that Eddie Kingston is sitting right over there, just to be disrespectful to him. So this is a very good feud based on respect, and it's very hard to predict. Just like the rest of the card, I could see it going both ways. I mean, Eddie Kingston seems like the guy to win because he's the underdog, and he needs to prove that he could beat Bryan Danielson and earn his respect, and that's what we want to see for him. But at the same time, Bryan Danielson, he's not going to be wrestling full-time for much longer. And I know that he doesn't want to win any championships in AEW, but I think AEW needs Bryan Danielson to have some type of title reign in the promotion. So, if Bryan Danielson's name is in the title history of any of the titles they have, it automatically makes that belt mean more. And his whole thing is that he just wants to put guys over. But if you're not beating anybody ever, then you're not really putting them over, So I think Bryan Danielson might need it more than Eddie Kingston. So I'm predicting Bryan Danielson to win the Triple Crown Continental Crown. We've got my favorite wrestler, Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. And it is a Don Callis family member match versus Don Callis family member. It's a Don Callis family member versus It's a Callis family member versus Callis family member match. Obviously, Will Ospreay is going to be a babyface. I mean, if Kenny Omega never wrestles again, then in my opinion, Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the world right now. And he's the best bout machine. And so I believe Will Ospreay will win. I mean, I can understand the argument that if he lost to Takeshita, it would be all right because obviously they'd cheat, and it wouldn't really hurt him because we've already seen him in AEW several times and we know he's great, so it doesn't really make him look bad. But I still think he should win this first match, and I don't really want to see him feud with the Don Callis family because the Don Callis family is a little bit on the, I don't know. They're just not really like that important on AEW TV right now, and so I'd rather see him go do something else. But maybe they'd elevate each other. I don't know. Either way, Will Ospreay is going to take the win at Revolution. Christian Cage versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. Now, I believe that Daniel Garcia should win, but I don't know. So Adam Copeland said, when I return from injury, so Adam Copeland told Christian Cage, when I return from injury, I hope that me and you fight again for the TNT title. And so maybe Christian Cage is going to keep it. Maybe Adam Copeland is going to cost Daniel Garcia the match because he wants to be the one to take it from Christian Cage. Who knows? Okay? But I believe in my heart of hearts that Daniel Garcia should win it. He's been doing a really, really great job. I love the bloke, and I want him to win the title because I think he needs something to cement him as an important member of the AEW roster. And I think being the TNT champion could really elevate him, and I think he could elevate it as well. FTR versus the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. This is a tough one as well because I feel like both teams really need to not lose. Both teams really need this win. I could see it going both ways, like every freaking match on this card, but I believe that Moxley and Claudio could lose, and they are singles guys in a tag team, so it's not really that bad for them to lose. But we might be putting them over as a new tag team. Maybe they're going to be going for the tag team titles in the future. So like the Garcia match, I'm going to just go with my heart and say that FTR gets the win. We've got a all-star scramble. It was supposed to be a Meat Madness match, but due to injuries, it is no longer that and is now an all-star scramble. Tony Khan said in the media call the other day that they will be doing the Meat Madness in the future because of the injuries of men that were going to be in the match. It wouldn't have been the same, so he wants it to be special. So we've got this scramble match. I remember in WWE, there was a championship scramble match for every belt, the ECW title, the WWE title, and the world title. It was in Cleveland, and I was there, so that's why I remember it. And I remember the rules are essentially there's a certain time limit And every, it's kind of like the Royal Rumble, I believe. I might be remembering this wrong, but every 2 minutes or something, another guy comes out. Once everybody's in the ring, there's a scramble. So there's a time limit, and then, say, I don't know what it is, say 5 minutes. And within that time, say Wardlow pins Jericho. Wardlow is the current winner of the match, but there's still 5 minutes left. So if someone else gets a pinfall, then they are the current winner of the match, and whoever is the last person to get a pinfall before the time limit is up is the one who wins. Now, that might just have been the WWE version of this kind of match. I don't know. But obviously, Wardlow's going to win, right? Which is why I'm having such a hard time predicting the main event. I'll get to that. But I do believe Wardlow's going to win. He did a hell of a promo the other day, the best of his career. I think Wardlow should change his look a little bit, He doesn't look... He kind of just looks a little generic. I like Wardlow, but his gear is a little generic. I think maybe he should sort of play more into like a big guy wrestler. Not, I don't know, singlet. I don't think it works for him. I think he needs to change his look up. This is the only one that's not hard to predict. It's obviously going to be Wardlow. We've got the AEW World Heavyweight Championship 3-way match between Swerve Strickland, our favorite Hangman Adam Page, and the champion Samoa Joe. Because I think Wardlow is going to win the Scramble and the winner of the Scramble gets a title shot, I feel like, Wardlow is a heel, right? Hangman is a heel, so I don't think Hangman wins. Samoa Joe, I think, is a heel. He was a heel when he won the title from MJF, but he's really over and he doesn't do anything that's that heelish, he's just a very aggressive ass kicker, so I don't know if he's a heel or not. Swerve he's a babyface. I mean, he's a babyface that does bad things, but he's a babyface. Everybody loves Swerve Strickland. So would Wardlow be the first opponent of a babyface world champion Swerve Strickland? Because Wardlow's a heel? The only babyface in this match, I think, is Swerve. But that being said, I do think that Hangman Adam Page is going to do whatever it takes to make sure that Swerve Strickland never wins the world championship. He's going to cancel Swerve out, and the winner is going to be Samoa Joe, retaining for the AEW championship. Though, I would really, 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 really love it if Hangman Adam Page won the match with the help of the Young Bucks. And then we've got the Young Bucks going up against Sting and Darby Allin for the tag team titles in Sting's final wrestling match. I've been watching WCW a lot lately. I've never watched it as a kid, so I'm falling in love with Sting, I was a fan of his, I liked him, I thought he was cool. But my main exposure to Sting is TNA. And he was great in TNA. But in WCW, he's a whole other animal. I'm in Sting's Surfer Sting phase right now. But I just finished the Halloween Havoc 1995 pay-per-view. So that's when Ric Flair, that's one of the times where Ric Flair tricks Sting into being his friend and then turns on him. And even though I knew that this would happen because I watch AEW and I listen to podcasts and everybody's always like, oh, could he trust Ric Flair? Because Ric Flair turned on him all these times. And so I know that happens, but I didn't know it happened on this show on Halloween Havoc 95. And so I wasn't shocked because I could sort of see it coming during the match. Wow, nobody's hitting, Arnie Anderson and Brian Pillman are not hitting Ric Flair. Ric Flair's not hitting them. He showed up late to the match. I think Sting might be getting betrayed tonight, and he was. And even though I sort of knew it was going to happen, I was still so devastated for Sting because he's the greatest. But I don't think that is going to play a factor in this match tonight. I do feel like it's really hard to predict this one too. Sting, there's that whole old school wrestler thing of going, out on your back and losing your final match and everything. But I think Sting retiring as the tag team champions might seem lame for the next couple of weeks of booking for AEW because now we've got to do a tournament or something for the tag team champions. But doing right by Sting is so important, I think. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And so I believe that Sting and Darby Allin are going to retain the tag team championships. However, I do think that it would be really good if Hangman Adam Page won the world title because of the help of the Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks won the tag team titles because of the help of Hangman Adam Page. Because that would just be goddamn great. It would be really, really great heel work from them, and a heel elite without Kenny would be something different that we haven't seen before, and it would be awesome. But my heart really does want Sting to win. So that's why I'm keeping my prediction that Sting is going to go out a winner and go all throughout his entire AEW career undefeated and retain the tag team titles with Darby Allin. This pay-per-view is going to be really, really good. I'm incredibly thrilled to watch it. It's had the best build of any AEW pay-per-view in 4 years, in my opinion. So I'll do another show reviewing the AEW Revolution 2024. But until then, Creamers, I love you.
Fat bitch.
And I wish you the best.
We'll slap those stupid glasses off your face and whoop your ass. Do you understand me?